Scale, exit, repeat. That's what you're listening to today. And we're kicking off with a summer season here. It is startup summer. We've got 5 or 6 episodes in a row. Each one is a master class in understanding what it takes to start a business. And we kicked it off last week with our first episode. If you haven't already listened to it, you go back and podcast. You can listen to that when it's about how to pick a great idea that can scale, build a moat, catch a wave, do what it takes to become successful as a startup, as a founder. And that's something that we do here on this show. We try to crack the code to start, scale, exit, repeat. And today the topic is all about the ultimate checklist. Okay, what are the things that you can do to start a business? And I have my co host today with me, Michelle Van Tilborg, and editor of Startup Club, Mimi Ostrander. I'm sorry, Mimi. I'm having trouble pronouncing your name, Mimi. I'm sorry about that. Ostrander?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, very cool. And so she's done a great job of putting together articles on Startup Club, and just if you're listening to this in podcast or you're listening to this on replay, we do this show every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern, and it's a live show. It's on an app called Clubhouse, and we are in a room, and you can come on stage. You can ask questions, you can get advice, you can share your experiences. We love to hear about stories. In the book Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, which released about almost a year and a half ago, had over 31 global awards, including one that happened this week. And that book has over 50 stories. We interviewed 200 people for the book. And in that book, we chronicle a lot of stories of failure and success and how to scale and how to exit, how to do it the right way, the wrong way, all that combined. But we'll jump right into it with the today's topic, which is how do you go from an idea, right? You've got an idea and you want to make the idea successful. You want to put this idea in motion, but you don't know what to do. You don't know your first steps. And that's key because once you begin to understand the first steps, then you can begin to make those steps. See, you've all heard the phrase, it's a lot easier to climb a hill than a mountain. It's a lot easier having a checklist and simply just checking off each step at a time to help increase your chances of success. And that's what we've done with the booklet Start. The official workbook Start has the ultimate checklist for startups. And this is something you can grab on Amazon. We put it on discount for this series that we're running, the Startup Summer. We put it on discount for $9.99, so you can get that. I'm talking $9.99, right? We're not talking about $999, which I think has got the value of $999. No, we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is a booklet that has a lot of information. That's a great complement to the book Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. And in fact, we've got some deep dives that we're adding to it. So you can actually literally read a chapter from the book Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. You can listen to the deep dive and really study each chapter. Each chapter, by the way, is very digestible. They're smaller chapters. And we've got in the book a lot of GPTs, methods, and like a software app, it's an AI that will help you with your launch. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So today we're jumping right into it. Michelle, I'm going to ask you right away. Has there been a time, a story? I want to hear a story from you, Michelle, but has there been a time when you've thought of an idea and then you never launched it, but years later you saw somebody else launch it and it was huge, and you're like, "What the fuck?
I
What did I
do.
do?"
I do actually. And this is crazy because it's a full circle moment for me. Right now, I run paw.com, which we have really cool dog beds and blankets high end. And I had this idea. I didn't have a dog, but I had a cat, right? They use beds, their own beds. I had bought this cheap, really ugly donut kind of bed, if you know the style. It's just round and it's sunken in the inside. And Anybody who knows me, like I like cool looking decor, like mid-century modern, all that. So I just kept looking at this ugly, ugly donut bed sitting on my beautiful vintage Bertoya chair. Okay. And I just was like, okay, like, how can I make this look good? Because there's nothing on the market that I like. So basically, I was in LA at that time. I went into a fabric store and I actually bought, Colin, faux fur. Okay. Like a nice white, like silky kind of long pile faux fur. And then I took this faux fur along with this ugly donut bed to just my local lady who does some tailoring. And I said, just make it like a pillowcase, like just elastic on the bottom. Okay. And I did. And everybody would come in and oh my God, that's so beautiful. How did you think of that? And I just think, oh, I should do this. It's so easy and inexpensive to do, and it could be a product. Okay, fast forward, I did not do it. Now go to modern day ages. Not that was that long ago. Let's just say starting 5 years ago, this has become a very popular format of dog beds and beds. And if I would have done that way before, especially the way that I wanted to do it, I think I could have like really made something happen. The funny part of the story is the boomerang here is I work for a very cool company that where we do these kind of things. And we do have innovative other dog beds and blankets. So it could have been all mine, Colin. It could have been me.
Yeah, and there's another company that did it, right? If I remember
Yeah,
correct.
there's a couple. Sherry's
Yeah.
beds or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you might be late to the game, you still have something there. It might be very interesting. Let me share a story with you as well. I'm going to dial it back a little here to 2006. And we were sitting in a dacha in Ukraine, which is like it's on a farm. It's like a little cabin, and we're doing a little barbecue, a few vodka shots, that kind of stuff, and becoming quite animated. And the gentleman that worked for me, who was our chief operating officer of the company, and our CTO was there as well. And we started talking about how difficult it was to find a taxi cab. So we'd travel all over the world and we'd be stuck in these. We'd do the meeting with your suits on, you walk outside, it's boiling hot, you're sweating, and you can't get a taxi. You try to use Google to find a taxi, you couldn't get one. And so we came up with this idea called My Yellow Button. You press the yellow button and you can see the taxi and you can see it come towards you on the map, on the GPS device. And we had actually had a software development company that was developing games for mobile at that time. And so we had this idea. We registered the domain name. It's a good name, My Yellow Button. It's pretty simple. Click the yellow button, and bam, the taxi comes to you. And of course, Lyft and Uber came out 2 years later, and 3 years later, and that idea became a multi-billion-dollar idea. And I sat back thinking, yeah, maybe we made a few extra games, but what went wrong? Like, why did we fail to launch My Yellow Button? Why did we fail to launch this Uber competitor, Lyft competitor, when we were years ahead of them? But we just didn't take the idea, we didn't materialize it. Yeah, we registered a domain name, we searched for trademarks, we do some of those things, but we didn't take the steps to really make it happen. And so I look back at that point as one of my sort of biggest lost opportunities. We really did describe Uber years before it came out, and we didn't take action on it. So that's the
And I'm
moral of the
just going to
story, right?
add, yeah. And I know the guys you were talking with, especially your CTO, like you guys could have done it. And we
Oh, I
wouldn't
know
even
we
know
could have
you.
done it. I
I
know
you
we
could
could
have
have done
done
it,
it.
and
It's crazy. This is not like BS, but because you actually had a very technical team already in place. So I'm hoping for you, you can think of another one of those great ideas soon.
I can tell you the ones I didn't do. I actually got a few of them on my. I'm always doing that, and I think anyone who's a sort of a serial entrepreneur is always thinking about ideas and registering domain names. And that's one of the things we have on the ultimate checklist is registering a domain name. And so it was one I had years ago. It's called Grocery Anywhere, and it was a tablet you'd put on your fridge with a magnet in the back and a tablet. And as you use things or use items, you'd put them. If you run out of milk, you put milk. ran out of milk. You click on the milk button, like a cash register, and that would sync with your iPhone. And then when you're going shopping the next time, you've already got, oh, I got 13 things or 15 things I haven't actually that I need to buy at the, or let's say you're at home and you click on something and your wife or husband's going to the store on the way home from work, they'll see it on the list and they'll grab it. Called Grocery Anywhere. We never followed up on that. We registered the domain name, groceryanywhere.com, and we just didn't follow up on it. There's a lot of these ideas. If you're in the audience and you've had an idea and you've just never brought it to market, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your stories. And in fact, with this particular episode, if you don't know this, we also do this is a podcast and this is also YouTube video as well. And so you can hear or listen to these on those platforms. But and we also do TikTok and we do some short videos and do some cuts and stuff like that. But I'm also working on articles, a series of articles at Forbes for startups. And so the content in this podcast will also be used for that article. So if you do come on stage, say your name as well, because we'd love to hear from you and understand your stories and what you've gone through or the ideas that you missed and you could have done. And then also, what are the things you actually do when you have the idea? Okay, and if you don't have the idea, don't panic right now because you can go back to last week's episode on the podcast or on Clubhouse. It's actually not released as a podcast yet. They're usually about 2 to 3 weeks behind on podcast, but on the Clubhouse replays, you can listen to it because that episode we dove into the idea of how to find the next $1 million idea. And I thought we uncovered a lot of cool ideas and techniques that you can use in your day to day of how to find that idea. Now, I don't want to rehash those, it's in the episode. But when you get that idea, what are the actual steps you can take? And in the guide, Start, which is the official workbook, we have the most comprehensive list of steps you can take to launch and start your business. Everything from registering a domain name to coming up with a brand persona for your customer to coming up with core values, everything you need to start a business, we have the real list for you. We don't have the stuff like get a bank account and get a business card, that kind of stuff. We have the real meaty stuff, the strategic stuff you need to do to start your business. And that's in the Start Workbook, which is on sale on Amazon for $9.99. All right, we have Gaurav on stage. Thank you, Gaurav, for joining us on stage. You jumped right up there right away, and we appreciate that. Have you got a story you can share with us or a question for the moderators? And something.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Colin. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Michelle. Hi, everyone. I have a story because early in the day when I was starting a company, it was into content creation specifically. And it was before BuzzFeed became a thing back in those days. We started working on the ideas. We were very young, me and a couple of my friends, we were very young. We did not know what kind of a business model it's going to be and how we are going to revenue attached to it. We were just a bunch of people who wanted to create content. And we used to create infographic content and we used to publish it. We used to get a lot of reach on various social media platforms. People used to praise us, but we never had an idea how to monetize this stuff, how to work on having an ad attached to it, how to work on different kind of business or taking business from local people as well who want to build a brand through our page. So we not had that idea back then. And now when look back, I realize that I could have done things differently without even thinking about much or going into step-by-step approach. Probably had a mentor who can actually help us to get to different steps, a step-by-step guide. Now when I do it, it's quite different for me. So I'm running a AI-enabled startup now, edtech, and wherein I have realized this thing that you do not have to figure out each and everything. What you need to figure out is the why, what, and how of the product, and that is what all is needed. And other things you tend to learn from the people on the go, and people have been helpful so far in my newer journey. So
Well,
that
yeah,
is
thank you for that. Thank you for
journey so
that.
far.
Thank you for that. It's useful because we learn from others, especially in this community at Startup Club. We can hear other stories, other people's stories, and how they made mistakes. So we can say, "Hey, maybe I don't want to do that, and I won't make that mistake." But your ideas, your sharing was very good there. We appreciate that. We also have Christopher on stage here as well. And Christopher, we'll hear from you first, and then I'll jump into the actual checklist after we do this and talk about the checklists, talk about some of the things on the checklist. And by the way, I'm hoping to add to the checklist, to actually change the workbook. This is a living document that Mimi edits. And so if someone comes up with an idea, it's going to be immortalized in our workbook here as well. That's a pretty cool thing about Amazon Print on Demand is you can just make a change to your workbook. That makes a lot of sense. I should add that one to my workbook. And there might be, I know I've got a lot of AI suggestions in the workbook, but there might be some more AI stuff as well. Christopher, welcome to the stage. Have you got a story or a question?
Yes, good evening, my fellow creative people. Oh man, I had to come up stage. Usually I sit down and I
No, no, we
listen.
love it. We love it
Um,
when people like yourself come on stage. This is what makes the community great. This is what makes the show great because it's not just a podcast with one person interviewing another. It's one person. So it's two people, really, Michelle and I, interacting with the community.
yes, it's awesome. What you touch me. I just come from the creative space. I live and thrive in the area of ideas and creativity. And it's not just me, myself. Miss my calling on a couple of products that I know and companies I could have put out there. But I work with hundreds of other people who have ideas, CEOs and visionaries that have ideas, and I team up with them. And a lot of them have the idea that they'll get to second or third base and they never put it out there. Then bam, somebody else do it. And I did myself miss a few, but being in that space, I have the flow that I make sure I come up with as many as I lose. And I have to stay creative because that's my livelihood. So I love being around other visionaries and partnering with other companies and bringing our ideas and stuff together and to help bring those ideas as far as we can go. There's some we put in $100,000 and still never got it to market. There's some it was an idea we put it on paper, still never got it to market, and then vice versa. And so, for all those out there, you have the idea. I think the young lady said to you, she said, "Hey, I hope you have another one, a good idea," and then you jump on it because you're seeing that your ideas are spot on. And when you don't do it, you see it out there. So the next one, you got to be like, "Okay, I'm not going to let this one slip. I'm going to take this from idea to market and see where I go." I just want to bring that in and just say, stay positive, keep the flow, keep creating, and keep putting out wonderful products and don't give up. Thank you.
Awesome. So you mentioned a lot about creativity. And a lot of times, some of us, we have ideas, but we're not like super creative. And you talked about brainstorming. Can you tell us a little bit, like what you might recommend? Maybe a little exercise of brainstorming to like vet through those ideas that you've used.
Yeah, there's two things. There's like my ideas, and then there's ideas with others or somebody else's idea that I bring my expertise or creativity to because that's what we come with. Just like you say, we all not creative. So I might partner with someone who have the idea. I bring in the creativity to help it get to another certain level. And we have to come to the meanings of the mind. And to a certain point, we have to create first this type of connection of me wanting and there's two ways with that. There's a way like, hey, I'm a partner with you, let's just go all in and do it. Then the other one to say, hey, Mr. Freeman, I'm going to pay you for your services to come and help us develop this product. So there's two levels on that. But I think when we partner with someone else with a other vision, you got to have that connection, not well as their vision, that's the first thing, but as also as a person. And I think once you find that mojo and you guys just come together and you do it, you go through the thick and thin, I think that's the first base you have to do it. I could compare it to like musicians. There's a lot of musicians who come together and you don't know each other. You got a guitarist, you got a vocalist, you got a drum. And when they come together, they just vibe and they just come and they just create that music together. And that's the same thing when you're creating with somebody's vision. And someone have to come together, you have to connect with it, and you got to want to see it through. I think that's just the essence. But for me, myself personally, to a start is me, and it's up to me to carry it and get it to a certain level, even to the point where I don't really worry about too much if somebody else partner with me, because it's my vision. I create it, I invest into it, I see it through to the point that I have to pay other people. So there's other people that may not work, it don't worry about it. If it don't work, just put your expertise into it. I'm going to pay you for it. I'll take on the brunt of that. So I'll see it all the way through, and I don't really have to worry about a whole lot of other people's opinion. To the point that my only opinion would be is who I'm selling it to. Once I finish it, test it, put it on the market, those are people I need to listen to because those are my buyers. But being a creative person, like I say, it's a part of my livelihood, and it's just something that I do every day consistently, and I love it. So, and it's a part of that too. And creating something, once you create your first one, you get it out there and make it good. Oh, that's the greatest feeling in the world. And then you get hooked on that. And then you keep creating. And writing your first book. You write your first book, you get it out there, oh, it's good. Then you write your next book. Then you write your next book. And it just become a part of my life. But it's my livelihood. And I love it. I love creating. I love designing. I love finding opportunities. I love creating and getting in new markets. It's the best thing in the world. So you gotta love it. You gotta find that connection with other partners who could see your vision, or you have a consistent vision together and can see it through. I'll stop right there. Thank you.
All right, there's so much to unpack there. There's a lot of areas you went through there. But one is, I think I'll start with it's number 10 on our list, was like join an incubator, get involved with others, and even the community, the clubhouse community here, the startup club. And join startup club. It's absolutely free, by the way, and doesn't cost you anything. And yet you can not only get great information, we're always adding new information. We have a phenomenal newsletter, which is basically a masterclass once a month in a newsletter, and you can actually go look at the back issues on startup.club. You can see the articles that we write there. But more than that, you can connect into a community. And if you can connect into an incubator, that's something that can really make a big difference for your business. In fact, there was a lady we interviewed named Bridget Weston on this show who runs an organization called SCORE. They have 10,000 volunteers, and they make the claim that the people who use they're free, by the way, absolutely free. It's funded by the U.S. government. This is in the U.S. and it increases your chances of success by three times. Three times. Three times your increase in success for a startup. Now, understand that you might invest $10,000 and you go to a casino and you can increase your chances by three times just by getting a mentor, getting into an incubator, connecting with others in a community. So the first thing that we have on the ultimate startup checklist, Christopher, is what you talked about as well, is the write the idea down. So we're going to want to write this idea down, and we're going to want to vet it. The very first thing is write it. Now, why write it down? Why can't you just think about it in your head? Because we really want to make it succinct. What we're doing is we're building the elevator pitch here, right from the very get go. We want to write this idea down. Once we've written it down, then we'll take it to the next stage, which is vetting the idea. But I actually, when you write your idea down, and again, I'm going to quote you, Christopher, about love. You got to love the idea because it's a roller coaster. There's a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs. And I think it's important to recognize your purpose and why you're doing this business. Why are you actually doing it? What's the reason you're doing this business? Does it really make a difference in the world? And your reason can't be I just want to get rich or I just want to make a living. Those are byproducts of the purpose for your business. You're the startup club. Our business, the reason why we do this is we want to help others. We want to help others succeed. Paw.com, we want to help dogs and we want to help dog owners. By the way, we happen to be dog owners. We happen to own dogs and we design products for dogs at paw.com. And I'm actually wearing the shirt right now, paw.com shirt right now. So we're filming in the background here a little bit too. You want to be able to have a passion for those things because it's a roller coaster. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. Next thing I suggest you do is try to identify the space you want to own. And in this context, think of yourself as someone on Google who's looking for something that they want to buy or they want to use, and they type in a query on Google, and in the first page of Google, the query pops up, and your company, your service is there. Okay, and this could actually be applied even in a technical way with something called title tags that you can put into your website. It's 5 or 6 keywords that identify you on Google and what how people will see you on Google as well. But identify the space you want to own and determine where what will get you on the first page of Google. So if you say, for instance, my wife and I, we own a school. If you type in Fort Lauderdale Montessori, we're on the front page. If you type in Montessori United States or Montessori Florida, we are not on the front page. So we really have to try to define our space and the space we want to play in, that we want to operate this business in. Because if we're on the second page, it's 90% of the traffic is the first page. You might get 5 or 6% on the second and 1% on the third page. So it's pretty much useless if you're not on the first page of Google. It's pretty much useless. You want to be on the first page. And the next thing, and I think this is one of the most fun things, and then I'll pass it over to you, Michelle, or if you're in the audience, you want to raise your hand, come join us on stage and share with us the idea that got away. Or one of the things you do once you think of an idea, this is what you do as part of your process. And by the way, I can have 12 ideas going at once. And you're going down the path, you're writing the idea down, you're registering a domain, you're doing all these things. And they'll come to a point in your vetting and stuff, and you say, you know what, there just isn't the market demand for this. So I'm going to kill this project. So it's okay to be it's killing projects. It's okay to have ideas, start them, get them out there, just start working on them. Start it by writing the idea down, writing your purpose, identifying the space you want to own, identify how you want to be seen on Google, and then name that idea. You know, my wife and I and my 2 kids were driving back. We put in an offer on a beach house in Fort Lauderdale. And we have Airbnbs on this island, this particular island in North Captiva in Florida. And we're driving back from North Captiva to Fort Lauderdale. We had put the offer in, but we didn't even have an agreement yet. And we just started brainstorming names for this beach house. And it happens to sit on the Gulf of something. And that particular house has phenomenal views of the sunset as the sun goes down over the Gulf, and you can see it. It's unobstructed. It's right on the beach. So we started brainstorming all these different ideas, and we ended up coming up with Sunset Escape. And today, sunsetescape.club, if you want to see it, you can actually see the beach house. Sunsetescape.club. That's the name of the Airbnb. And it's stuck, and we got Sunset 2, the house behind it now, and we've expanded the Airbnb. But coming up with that name took something that was really nothing, and now it starts to materialize. You start to take an intangible and make it tangible. And sometimes that works well even for like non-physical assets like digital properties or digital businesses or those kind of things as well. So picking the name, that's a fun thing. And then I'll continue the list in a few minutes. Michelle wanted to give you a chance to jump in here if there's anything else you wanted to add. Or if you have the checklist in front of you, you can run down the next few of them if you like.
All right. So I think you hit on it at the beginning, but I'll just mention it because it's more than the domain name. Like we found that some people would be say something very adamant to this, but I would start thinking of the product name because it actually helps you mentally, psychologically start thinking about who you're trying to reach, where you're going to sell, and all these surrounding things. And we've seen this happen time after time. People put all this time and effort and money into a product. They didn't worry about the name of the company or the product, whatever it is. Then they try to get it and they have a massive issue because they can't get that domain, they can't get that business registration or trademark, or there was another copyright. And that can be quite damaging to your pocketbook and your timeline. So make sure you can get the name. Somebody else isn't already using it from a trademark or copyright. You can hopefully get the domain name or something close therein. And I also would advocate that you check the social media handles too, because gosh, it's so much more convenient and nice if you can have the same social handle for all the different channels. So identity matters. And I think it matters a lot because it forces you to think about who you're trying to reach, Colin.
Yeah, and you pretty much covered a few of them there. I think one of the things we do just before we register the domain name, though, is we go check the trademark database. I think it's Nuance database in Canada and in the United States. It's the
It's
tests.
the USPTO,
Thank you, the
and then it
USPTO.
links you to different ones. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was, yeah, like you check it many different ways.
yeah, USPTO. It used to be called the test database. They changed the name to just the USPTO, and you could just search the database. Costs nothing. Takes 30 seconds. I had a company that I was working with, and this company had picked a really cool name. The company picked a really cool name, but what they failed to do is to check the trademark database. And they got a domain name. It was a great domain name. It matched their name. And then a year later, we are like, wait a minute, did you realize that this name is not it's trademarked by another company? It was actually a mattress firm, and they were selling bedding products. And this company had the trademark for bedding products, and they had to change their name. It cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. It set the company back. And all it takes is 30 seconds to go to the trademark database and just simply look up the name before you even register the domain name. My inclination is to jump right away and go register the domain name because I'm excited about it. And I get this real fix when you register a name, I get a real fix. It's like a bit of a drug. It's like a gambler's thing. I'm like playing blackjack. You get at 21, you're like, ooh, that felt good. Or I registered a domain name, ooh, that felt good. But before you get that urge to just register that domain name, check the trademark database. But I like the fact that you added social channels, Mimi, and I don't see that on the list. Maybe it is on the list because there's a lot on the list and I don't have that right now. But if you can make a note of that one, Mimi, for the list to add to the list, is all the social channels. I know that it's nice to have it all the same on Twitter and TikTok. Oh, don't forget TikTok. If you're trying to attract a younger audience, we just started out on TikTok with Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. We never had the book. We primarily were Facebook and LinkedIn. And what we noticed from the Google Analytics was that most of the people buying the book Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat were between 18 and 35 years old. Men and women, by the way, about evenly split, which we're quite happy with. And so we realized that we're not actually reaching the right channel here. We have to go into TikTok. And so we started TikTok, and it's actually been taking off. We've had some videos over 20,000 views, and it's a little easier than I think some other social media channels to break into TikTok. We'll have to have a whole other show on social channels on another episode. But the next thing that we did at Sunset Escape was creating a logo for the brand style. Is because once you create a logo, again, it's that image that you're starting to make materialize this idea. And we put the logo on the golf carts because we provide a golf cart. We put the logo on the sign. If you go to Sunset Escape, you can see that. You can see where we use the logo. We did a booklet as well, and that's a fun element as well. By the time we finished that car drive, we actually had the name, the trademark search done, the domain name registered, the logo. I sent over a request to my graphics guy who put together the logos within a few minutes, or he's really fast. And we hadn't even had a an agreement on the building yet. We didn't even know if we were going to get it given our bid. In the end, we did get it, and so that was good. We didn't waste our time. But you can see how going through the process of thinking of a name, designing a logo, just starting to materialize, just starting to make this idea without spending a lot of money. Okay, you haven't gone out and spent $100,000 here. You spent maybe 20 bucks, maybe 50 bucks if you want to get somebody on Fiverr to build your logo or design a logo, whatever it is. But you haven't spent a lot of money here. We're still in the early stages. We're not at the point of no return where we gotta make this happen. And the next thing we do is set up a business email and phone number. And Michelle, I'm surprised at how many, and Christopher, I'm surprised at how many businesses don't have their vanity email. And this is 2025. We were doing vanity emails in the 1990s. What do I mean by vanity email? I'm talking about Google, for instance, where you can actually get an email with the name of your company. So if you were to email me, my email address is colin@startup.club. That's my email. We are startup.club. That's who we are. That's our website. That's our media company. That's the company that owns Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat and helped publish that through Forbes. That's the company that does that. And so my email address is colin@startup.club. I'm surprised, Michelle, like how many people still have, they're running a business at Gmail at 7263, whatever. Michelle, I see you're off mute there, so just can't hear you. Oh, you had a phone call come in. Yeah, we're running a live show here,
Can
and
I?
sometimes on Clubhouse. Go ahead, Christopher.
Yeah, I think I do understand. Like you said, the first steps that you were talking about is again, I'll compare it to writing a book. It's okay. You got a book, you might come up with a name for the book, or vice versa. I got a friend right now. He wrote the book, but he didn't have a name for it. So I've seen that both ways too.
Sort of a backwards one, right? That's it's funny.
Yeah, but where you put it is, and for everybody, is if there's a starting point that you don't have to put a whole lot of money and say, oh, okay, I'm getting ready to start off this money. I don't have a budget, but I want to start it. But it's still just taking those first steps and visualizing it. And oh, I see it. I got the name, I got the domain. Okay, I got the logo, I see it. Now, in as far as development, that right there to a certain point will be mostly considered branding than first starting. Because a lot of people will have a product. There's some big companies out there who had the product and they didn't have a name. And that's even in the tech world. Okay, I got the technology, it works. What are we going to call it? And then now you start coming up with some kind of crazy, putting words together and blah blah blah. You'll find your way and get something unique because you put all kind of crazy letters and words together to come up with something unique. So what is first or second? And I totally get that. And but that right there, what you said will really come into the circle of brand. And it's according what the product is. If you created a clothing line, okay, that's different. You want to have the actual clothing. And then you have the name, then you got to put that on something versus a tech product or something like that. It could be a little bit different. But that do fall in the line of actual branding as far as the visualization of what you just said. I just want to put that in. Thank you.
I like it. I like it a lot, and I can tell you a couple stories here. One of them, I was working after I'd sold one of my companies, it was publicly traded, and I sold it to a Fortune 500 company. I worked at the top of the organization, directly reporting to the CEO of that Fortune 500 company. And I'm not going to name the name of the company right now. I don't want to embarrass them. But we had a budget to promote a service that we were launching, but the company had not picked a name for it yet. And I said to the executive team, including the CEO, I said, "You guys are crazy. You're going to spend millions of dollars promoting this, and you don't have a name." And they said, "Colin, we have the money in the budget anyway, so we're just going to test some stuff out and whatnot." And I said, "Here's what's going to happen. Fast forward 12 months from now, and when you actually have a name and a brand and whatnot, and then I say, okay, we want to advertise it, you won't advertise it because you failed in your first campaign, which didn't have a name." I know this is sounding insane that this could even happen. This could possibly happen. But going to the name part of the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, I actually did come up with a name after doing the lecture at MIT in 2012. And it just stuck with me in this my head. And Forbes and a lot of people have said that name is one of the key reasons why the book just jumps off the shelves because so many people see it and say, "Wow, it is a methodology. It's not just about some guy, rich guy who made a lot of money and he's out there promoting a book. No, this is about a methodology of how you can become successful, build wealth, crack a code of what it takes to be a successful founder." And that's what the book's all about. All right, so we will continue on the list. So I already have apply for a free score mentor. We already talked about write the elevator pitch. And when you write your elevator pitch, this is an important idea or concept because you're going to be pitching it. And by the way, when you do have your logo and your domain and all that stuff, and I've got some concepts, I've got a few companies now that are in concept stage, and I literally put them on letterhead. I make it look like this is this real company. It's been around for 10 years, even though I just thought of it yesterday. And make it look like that. And I start showing people these documents and with the letterhead and the logo. And wow, this is real. Wow, you're really serious about this business because a lot of times you have an idea and you need to create a lot of momentum around that idea, and you don't even you need to be able to show that momentum, and you can't show the momentum if you're just trying to talk about an idea and you don't have a name for it and you don't have a logo, and but when people see it all coming together, they begin to realize that holy shit, this is real. This is real. You really are launching this business. You really are launching this idea, and they jump right into it. So coming up with that name, getting the logo, searching the trademark database, developing your elevator pitch, and now let's go ride the elevator, right? And just get into that incubator. There are a lot of free incubators around. In South Florida, they have one at the Allen Levan Center, and you can join it for free. I speak on a regular basis at that particular incubator. And about 12 people come in for 10 sessions, one a week for 10 weeks. And it ends with the pitching to investors. Look, you're not going to make money sitting there at home watching binging on Netflix or watching Apple Plus. You're not going to make be successful alone anymore. There's a community out there that's willing to help, and it's free. Most of these communities are free, and you can go join them in your local community. Just type in incubator if you want to look. If you're in South Florida, you can look at the Allen Levan Center. They've got an incubator program, and they do it 3 or 4 times a year. A lot of universities do it. You don't have to be a university student. And sometimes I've gone done these things, and I've had people who are in their 70s who are joining these sessions. The next one on our list is write personal value statements. We have a GPT in the workbook that can actually help you do that very quickly. Why are personal value statements important, Michelle, at the beginning of a company? Why is Colin bringing up such a weird
It's
idea?
so important.
Isn't it?
It's one of the hardest things to do, I believe, to, and I'll say you do it for a reason. You do it because you want to give people motivation that is genuine, an idea that they can really get behind. And then there's that, whatever, 6 letter word culture that you could talk about and debate about forever. Is like, how do you really create a culture? If it comes from the top and you have these core value statements, that's where it starts, because you're celebrating and you're rewarding and you're discussing what the culture is. And it needs to be backed on something, like you said earlier, not, oh, we just are here to make money. I know that's not necessarily what we're talking about, but all of these things support it. So I know one we had at, let's talk about one we had at Dot Club, Colin. What was the one where it was something like, no idea? It was like no idea is a bad idea, but that wasn't exactly it. What was it, Colin?
Yeah, no, crazy ideas, not stupid
Yes,
ideas.
that is the one. And they actually came up with that before I joined the team, but I thought that was probably one of the best ones because it really said it, right?
Yeah.
We would try crazy ideas, but not stupid. So that was another way of really ingraining in ourselves and each other that there are no stupid ideas. There are stupid ideas, right? But let's try some crazy ideas without doing stupid things. I really enjoyed that one in particular,
Yeah.
Colin.
Yeah, and it really does send a signal to everyone in the organization that it's okay to do crazy things once in a while and step out of the norm, what's normal, right? And that's part of our core values. But
Hello, guys.
when I
Sorry.
emphasize personal core values, we'll jump to you in a minute there. Just give me 1 minute there, Alsha. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. But what I emphasize here is personal core values because these are the values you're going to operate your entire life on. And sometimes if you don't understand them, think of it like a bowling alley with the guards. And the kids used to have this little, you put up the guards, and when the bowling and ball goes down the alley, it bounces off the guards and gets corrected. These are the things you're going to live and die by. These are the people you'll hire for, fire for. These are the lines you're never going to cross. And when you understand those personal lines that you're never going to cross, and others who work with you understand those values, that can make a big difference in scaling your business, even in the early stages. Having your own personal values, but then also translating those into company values as well. And we have a GPT. It's in the workbook. You can just use a QR code and scan the QR code, and you can get the access to that GPT. Yeah, we'll jump down to you now. Again, Alsha.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Good. Where are you from, by the way? Where are you from?
I'm from Sudan, Africa, but I grew up in the Middle East, but now I'm in Canada.
So I'm in Canada right now too. We're going up to our cottage tomorrow in Halliburton. Whereabouts in Canada?
I live in Oakville, Ontario.
Okay, my daughter was born in Oakville, Ontario. I was there yesterday for dinner. I love it. It's a beautiful place. Thank you for joining us on here. Canada's a beautiful country,
It
and
is a beautiful country.
it
Yeah.
is really, yeah. So, do you have an idea that got away, or do you have a question?
Yes, I studied software development, and as soon as I got out of college, I couldn't get a job because the market was very competitive. Last year, when ChatGPT came out, I was happy because I knew that this could actually be something else I could develop with it, right? So I started developing apps. I created a couple of apps on the App Store. I launched a couple of websites that basically they're basically easy as remove an asterisk from or punctuation from like a paragraph, stuff like that. And today I'm launching this app called Uclip. So it's basically
Can you
an
say
app
that name
that
again? You
Uclip. It's on my profile. If you click on my profile, you find like the link. It's called uclip.fun.
Uclip.fun. Got it. It's youclip.fun.
Sorry guys, I got disconnected.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, it's youclip.fun.
Yes, it's I'm still having an issue, but I'm fixing it as we speak. So what this website does is that you take a YouTube video that's let's say for example you have to study for a JavaScript exam, right? And there's a video that's 4 hours long and you should finish that in an hour or two because your exam is coming up, right? This website basically you paste the URL for the YouTube video and give you a summary of what the video is talking about. You can talk to a chat GPT within the app that basically you ask it about any minute in the video and it will explain it to you in a simpler way. There's notes section in the app that basically you can type notes of what you understood and the AI would correct you, tell you about if your idea is basically valid, if what you took down as notes is valid or not, if you understood it totally or not. And there's I'm gonna add later quizzes so that you can like quiz yourself or examine yourself on what you understood, so that it's 100% that you come out of that video you understood 100% of what's going on in the video.
Yeah, and I think what you're doing is amazing because we live in such a new time and the
Everyone
opportunities are
wants
great.
everything fast. Yeah.
Yeah, and with AI, the opportunities are great. And you don't even need to have a team of 100 people. You can develop. I was just thinking of another business today. I was like, we have these cartoons at Meowingtons, this e-commerce site. We've got about 5 years worth. So we got about like 1,200 of them. And so we're using VO3, Google's AI thing, and we're using one called Halu, which is
I
another
would say I would highly recommend using Cursor AI.
Cursor AI. So what we're trying to do,
Yes.
let me tell you what we're trying to do. We're trying to take the cartoons and we
Mhm.
want to turn them into miniature like video cartoons. Right now they're static, like you see on a newspaper or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So we want to convert them and make them. The problem is we want to make it consistent. So the characters have to have the same voice between the cartoons. And we had some pretty good progress. We made some pretty good progress with that. But anyway, that was just thinking, wouldn't we rather just hire somebody who
To
already
build it.
specializes in this, who could just do it for us and pay them $1,000? And by the way, 1,000 might sound cheap, but then again, if they have the right systems and offshore labor and whatnot, they could probably convert all those videos. And why do we need to have to go learn all these AI little nuances when I could just hire a company
Okay,
to do it?
so you are in the right area, Colin. That's what I do. I basically have a Reddit account that I post on it that's saying that, hey, if you have an idea, I'll go with you 70/30. You're 70, I'm 30% for the next 5 years. A lot of people they'll get suspicious. I'll be like, why would you get it only for 5 years? My goal is to focus on one thing at the time, right? And I have the skills to actually build stuff with the AI because I have already two apps on the App Store. One is called Cal AI. That's sorry, Calorie AI, which is basically an app that you take a picture of any food in front of you, give you what could be the fibers, what could be the calories count, what's the protein count, all of that, right? It basically takes a video or take a picture and it's gonna ask a couple of questions like what is it cooked, oil cooked, is it grilled, stuff like that, right? If you can't tell. That app by itself it has over 5,000 users. 178 of them are paying, and which is good. That's one app. I'm working right now on something similar to what you're what you're talking about. So what I have in mind is called, it's basically okay. I haven't decided on name yet, but it's basically, let's say for example you have a kid at home, right? And that kid is, you're in the military and you can't see them and stuff like that. You can download that app, and basically you put the name of your child, their age, their interests, their hobbies, stuff like that, right? And then the AI would generate those books, kids books that you read for the kids before they sleep. But this time, instead of the book being a general book, a generic book, it would be based on your kid. It would say stuff like, oh, for example, your kid is Colin. Colin is 7 years old. He is a hero for saving the cats in the forest, for example, right? It's
Yeah.
gonna generate stories based on your child name. It's gonna feel more
Got it. Yeah, we
realistic
got. I think we
toward.
got the. Yeah, Ryan. Sorry, we got the concept. I'll shut. But I do want to. I want to make sure we have time for Ryan. We only have 5 minutes left, and we hold a strict time limit of 1 hour because this is also a podcast. So,
Yes,
but
no
I
problem.
really appreciate that, and you're welcome to come back on stage, a fellow Canadian who really appreciate you jumping on stage here and sharing with us. And we want to hear more about your ideas and the progress you have. We do the show every Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern. Ryan, thank you for jumping
Sounds
on
good.
stage.
Thank you, guys.
How's it going?
Thank you.
I actually wanted to say to the I can't, Aisha, I believe your name was.
Oh, my name,
Sorry.
my name,
Anyways,
my name is actually Mo.
yes,
I'm sorry. That's just a name that I have on Clubhouse, but my real name's
gotcha.
Mo. Yeah.
All right. Well, I actually built a website a while ago called Fairy Tale Generator, which does exactly what you're talking about. It's an AI based, it's a chat GPT wrapper with a Flux
Okay, since you built it
context
already, I'm gonna give you an
integration.
idea. I want you to implement it into your app, and I hope you implement it. It's basically, let's say, for example, you're in the military, Ryan, right? And your kid is at home, would like to hear your voice. Why
Yep.
don't you add
It's
a
already
mimic?
in 11 labs.
Oh, that. Oh,
Voice
nice.
cloning.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, so Colin, I had actually another client reach out to me recently that was trying to do exactly what you're doing, where he has children's books and he basically wants to turn them into cartoons. And I'm not the one to do this, but I do know there's a ton of video models that they're getting pretty good. You could use something like context to, it's kind of like a one shot, instead of having to train a LoRa, it's like a one shot image reference model that you can take a picture of a kid and it can turn them into, yeah, I'm sure you've probably seen Chat GPT's latest Dolly upgrade that shows it's really good at doing, take this and then
I think it's
make their
called
hair
Goblin or
blue
some shit
or
like that.
whatever. Yeah, turn them into a goblin, whatever it may be. So it's basically like that, but locally hosted, or you can. Obviously, it doesn't have to be locally hosted, but it's an open source model, is what I'm trying to say. So you could do something like that, and then use something like Cleaning AI or one of the video models. There's a ton of stuff. You go on Hugging Faces, you can see that's like the new craze, but you can generate up to 6 seconds per frame, right? So you could actually just kind of stitch these things together. And I've seen a lot of people take the ending frame and using that as the reference for the first frame, so that way they can actually continuously make like a longer video. And then as far as like you're talking about the character voices and whatnot, if you use, for example, 11 labs, you can choose characters, right, that you can have a specific voice that you use for that person for every scene that you're making. And the newest version of 11 labs also has a really cool feature that you can add emphasis, you can add emotion, and it can actually do some background noises as well. So just wanted to throw that out there
No,
for
I
you.
think it's awesome. We should have a show on AI. We do one usually about once a month or once every 2 months because but it's moving so fast. It's unbelievable. Like what VO3 is doing now with voice and what Halo, I've been playing with Halo as well, and Marika for making songs. We came out with a really cool music video for Startup Club, which is on, you go to Startup Club and you can check it out, or just go to the TikTok channel and you can see the music video. It's just amazing what you can produce. We haven't even got a third of the way through the list, and we're out of time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up part 2 of the startup checklist, the ultimate startup checklist, and we're going to do that next Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern. So if you've been here for the show, or if you're listening to some podcast, you want to listen to the next show. So we're going to continue the conversation. We haven't come close to all the items on the list, but hopefully we've got through enough items here for you to think about your idea and say, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. And with the last two speakers here, they mentioned a lot about AI. AI is your friends. I use it at least half my time during the daytime now. They're here to help you and you become successful. And you need to use them as a tool. Use them to help them pick a domain name or design a logo or design what should be the characters of a logo. But one thing I will say is you can never outsource the entrepreneur. You are the entrepreneur. It's a skill, a trade like any other trade, and you need to learn to harness that trade. If you haven't already done so, get a copy of the number one best-selling book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. 31 global awards, including one this week, another international global award that we won this week. And but my most proud of probably is the Axiom's top book on entrepreneurship globally in 2025. And then grab the checklist, grab the start workbook that Mimi's put together here with the team. And on in that workbook is a complete checklist, and you can literally just check one off at a time. And we're going to continue to improve that. We're going to continue to add more and more to this workbook and make it better and better. And if you haven't already done so, go to startup.club, sign up to the email lists. Let me be clear, it's never been a better time in history than now to start your business. Thank you all. See you next week.